Welcome to this quick video. This is your earlier before I left to come pick up my son's mother at work. I started researching demonology, and I ended up coming across a reference while reading a book. And what's interesting about this one is most grimoires speak upon Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Astaroth as being the head of the underworld. Whereas, say for an example, the book of Appin speaks of the four being Samael, Lilith, Astaroth, and Nibiru's. Anton Zandalavay's Satanic Bible speaks of the four, the hierarchy as being Lucifer, or Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, and, or I should say, Belial and Leviathan. Okay? So, to see this one here as being Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Leviathan as being the first to fall or rebel against the heavens, I guess you could say, is kind of a unique outlook. But as I was just discussing with a couple of the followers that I have, it could simply, the princes that rule underneath these three, most of them I didn't recognize the spellings because they were kind of new spellings for me. But as we all know, the spellings of the beings, such as demons and angels, have taken on many, many different spellings, such as Astaroth, 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 and such, or Lilith, Lilin, or Lilitu, for an example, just a few examples. Even Beelzebub, or Beelzebuth, or Balzabuth, okay, before it went into Balbereth and so forth. So you see, there are many different types of spellings to these beings. Just because you don't recognize one doesn't mean it's not relevant to that particular being. So some of them I actually did recognize, whereas these other ones I just got to do a little research on because I have a couple. How should I think? So telling me that I know who these are, um, from not only the Goetia of King Solomon, from the Lesser Keys, but also that of Dr. Rudd's and, how should I say this, Michael W. Ford's Goetia and such like that, because these beings have been spoken on so many times. So I'm pretty sure I know who they are, just by parts of the spellings of the names, like Dandelion and such, for an example. Or, like, I've come across a couple of different references to his name in different spellings. So this particular book I was reading on witchcraft tonight, and I was studying because I was in my altar room earlier today, or this evening, and I had summoned Izazel. Okay, and much like twine intertwinkling, entwining with each other, much in the same way as the human genome. It came across as light blue, night blue, or kind of a bluish color, and before going into a human skull as an image. And I did some research on this, and what was interesting is the skull is the representation of the many levels of the divine, the spiritual aspects, much in the same way as the onion analogy. And I found it interesting because of the fact that even the color blue means enlightenment. It is the purity or the angelic. So to see both of these together kind of got my attention, and I was wondering why Azazel would choose to show this to me. So, like I said, I started doing the research, and for some reason, I switched. I flipped through the two was this book, and on demonolatry, witchcraft and demonolatry by Robbins, and I went underneath demonolatry and de- demonologists and stuff like that. And by the time I got to the demonology, the so um, with that said.